are we actually making it worse with the overconsumption?
That's true. Over 250 million people every day sleeps without food. There are people who are overdoing it. So if you look at obesity, for example, healthcare is on account of lack of discipline in terms of consumption. Commit myself in moderation and reduce the carbon emission. Embrace the nature, increasing the.
What do you think is the one sole thing that you would say that would stand out to create a large, big impact?
Well, solar is a bigger opportunity. It's nature's gift. Energize it, use it, optimize your existing electricity consumption. Wind is, big institutions are doing it. The more you generate values towards carbon reduction, creating a clean energy, then
Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Green TV. I am Shruti Seetharaman, a content creator, a storyteller, your anchor for today's episode, and also an entrepreneur. And I believe that we should be making or figure out how we should be making everyday choices to have a greener planet. And joining me in conversation today is Dr. Seetharaman, who is a global leading voice in green banking. He is also a banker outside of green banking. He's a sustainability advocate, also believes in wanting to propagate on how we can all make choices that can change the future.
That's right.
Are we actually in a climate crisis, or is this just a scary headline that everyone's putting out?
We are. It's not a headline. It's real. The weather patterns are changing. The food security is at stake. Poverty is increasing. The air pollution, sea pollution, name it. So it's not just a headline.
How much of this is on us versus the government?
It's a public-private partnership. It's a team effort. Whether it is water consumption, reduction of water consumption, using the solar energy, creating values out of the nature. There are villages in India, through solar microgrids, they're managing it. Their smart meters have been put through and they are controlling it efficiently. So it's happening, but it has to scale up.
The next question is, we're talking about all of the big changes that are happening.
Yeah.
The bigger question is, do the small changes actually matter? Or is it just something that we're saying so that we can feel better about propagating the sustainability?
No. It matters. See, national policy matters. See, government commitment, as I said, now US is reversing their commitment. Now they're drilling more oils, while energy transition is committed by the previous governments. Now, oil pollution, fossil fuel pollution is dangerous, we know it. Whereas, look at the Gulf states, where 45% of the world oil, 20-25% of the world gas comes from. They are engaging in renewables. By 2030, some of the Gulf states will have net zero transition maps, cities. They have clarity in terms of compliance model. 2040, some of the Gulf states are going to reach out net zero emission. Some countries are 2050. India is 2070, for example. But India's progress towards renewable is, especially solar, green hydrogen, is quite interesting and exciting. And there are rural villages which are coming to terms on solar. Africa is a classic example. Some part of Africa is doing it well.
So the small habits actually do matter. And now what I want to ask you is about how in this world that we're staying in, tech is moving so quickly and advancing so fast that is it actually going to prove to be beneficial for us?
Absolutely. Green tech is the name of the game. See, if you look at artificial intelligence, it's predictive intelligence tool, right? So you have opportunity to measure the climate. So you can see what is likely to come and you have forward-looking actions. If I'm warned clearly, these are signals, symptoms, I'm going to take precautions to prevent. And that's what is happening. So technology plays a big role in carbon reduction. Technology plays a big role through AI in prediction. And again, technology plays a big role in terms of offsetting. So if you look at financial institutions, if they are also financing for the green tech that is happening now, there are some of the fintech companies, some of the startups which are climate tech, regenerative tools they are generating is something which is interesting and exciting. So it's all happening. Technology plays a very big role, significant role.
And now the bigger question is, are we actually making it worse with the overconsumption?
That's true. We are making it worse because while we have over 250 million people every day sleeps without food, there are people who are overdoing it. So if you look at obesity, for example, healthcare is on account of lack of discipline in terms of consumption. So we need to bring in moderation in terms of consumption, responsible consumption, responsible production. Both are important. So let's commit ourselves, reassure ourselves that I need my health in my own interest. I want to live long in this beautiful planet. I want to have a good experience of this given journey, the passage. And I want to see the best of, this planet. So it means I have to commit myself in moderation and reduce the carbon emission, embrace the nature, increasing the creations. For example, tree planting is another classic commitment.
So not just food, it's also what is such an important thing to talk about is fast fashion. Now we live in a world where we're talking about tech, right? Where as a content creator, like I'm always in front of the camera when I want to shoot content, and I'm always thinking about what is something new that I can do.
Yeah.
And lately I've become slightly more comfortable with repeating my outfits or mixing and matching. But for a large part of it, I do think about how many times I'm repeating the outfit, but I'm wearing the exact same thing. There are a lot of content creators who literally wear the same t-shirt in all their videos. It could be circumstantial, it could be they choose to focus on content over, the value of the content. But I think it's also something that now I'm starting to increasingly see amongst content creators where they're comfortable wearing the same clothes or repeating their outfits without thinking too much. Whenever they have the opportunity to, then they will rent, but also rental clothing is now become slightly more common. So I think people are making the small changes, but I think this is also to urge to people that fashion is great. I believe you. I enjoy dressing up and I like wearing something like, every year on my birthday, for example, I want to buy a new dress, but I also have my 16th birthday dress. And trust me, I'm not close to 16 right now. So I also choose in wanting to keep and repurpose and reuse as much as possible. So I think we should also be mindful of the fact that if we do take certain actions where we like doing or we enjoy it or we have the means to, we also find a way to prolong the use of it or repurpose it, recycle it, so that at least we're sort of offsetting the amount of overconsumption in some ways. I think smaller changes like that or being mindful about small things like that along with your consumption.
Fashion industries need to be watched. We are the creators. So we need to be mindful of our commitment. So we should moderate again.
Absolutely. And now that brings me to, because we're talking about how all of these things that we probably don't realize contribute to, creating more carbon footprint in our day-to-day lives that we don't realize, right? Like we've spoken about how ChatGPT and every prompt that you send contributes to carbon footprint, or fast fashion, or food, and our day-to-day activities. The question is climate anxiety becoming a real thing? It's something that I think about all the time.
It is. But you don't need anxiety if you recognize your commitment and you be a catalyst to promote the green generation. And that's what we are trying to do by propagating this, practicing this in our daily walk of life. As a banker, I invested or lend a portion of our wealth, our capital when I was running a bank, or in personal terms now, towards green mission, because that's a conscious decision. We should We should do it, and it's a good commercial model as well, right? So all the principles of circular economy, if we start practicing it, we can create better world.
Okay, and talking about a better world, what do you think is the one sole thing that you would say that would stand out to create a large, big impact? What is the one thing, if you had to start somewhere and you wanted one thing, or you wanted to propagate to everyone that's watching, to start with something that actually has a big impact, what would it be?
Well, solar is a bigger opportunity. It's a nature's gift. Energize it, use it, optimize your existing electricity consumption. There are solutions available. There are grids available, smarter grids, as I said earlier, is available. Wind is, big institutions are doing it. So if you ask me as a person, solar energy, you can tap it at every home. And again, you can plant trees. That's all within our ambit, right? If you have barren land, or if you want to invest somewhere and convert this land into productive form, the more you generate values towards carbon reduction, creating a clean energy, then your job is done. You persuade others to make sure this is a good commercial model in addition to the commitment which you can demonstrate.
That is on a more social responsibility aspect.
That's right.
What I also want you to tell our viewers is something in your day-to-day activities. For example, we spoke about fast fashion, food consumption,
water conservation,
electricity management,
yes.
Switch off everything completely before you leave the house. From all of these, like things that a common man could relate to, or a child that is not at the point where they're doing social responsibility. Someone we'd want to propagate to the future generation that's still studying, that's still understanding the world, that's still very driven by what we see on the internet, that's very driven by using tech for everything that we do. What do you want to say to these people as one starting point that we can propagate for people who are watching, or for people who have children who are watching, to start with?
It all starts with the habit, right? If you are conscious of this beautiful planet, have good habits, like less usage of water. Again, embrace the nature. Ensure you walk whenever you can. Use the bicycle instead of road transportation, which is carbon emitting, or shared pool cars, as they say. So it's a team play. Your habit matters. Air pollution, and don't destroy the seas. Sea pollution is, we have seen the reflection in receding seas levels, increasing temperature, animal extinction in the seas. So we have to recognize as individuals, and that's the habit we have to inculcate.
So I think the safe answer would be, as much as this also sounds like me pushing you to watch this podcast or share it, I really think the one thing that we can start with is talking about it. We talk about it. Hopefully you enjoy watching it. And you can start sharing this podcast or many such more podcasts that talk about sustainability. I think creating awareness is the one big thing that we can do, because if we really are, like we spoke about, in a climate crisis, and it's not just a headline, the minute you're aware, I think you will automatically realize what are the little things or the easier things or the one thing that you can do that can change, because you know the impact of your actions, you know how much you do of what. So I think creating the awareness from within is a lot more powerful for someone to continue to propagate.
Awareness to action is already happening. Because individuals have realized it, a lot of actions are happening, but it's not enough.
Yeah.
So we need to have every single person in this planet has to recognize this opportunity, and then make the best use of your livelihood, and you will create a better experience for generations to come.
Absolutely. And we also have a podcast where we've spoken about from a father or a parent-child, I wouldn't say particularly father-daughter, but from a parent-child perspective, about very simple things that our parents have told us growing up, or what you hear in why you should be doing them. Like, why do I have to turn off the tap? Why do I have to switch off the lights behind me? And I urge you to watch that podcast to maybe sort of understand how literally it's broken down into how everyday actions can result in a bigger impact. But again, I would say it again, if watching this podcast ever does create some curiosity or forces you or pushes you to be more aware of climate change, about global warming, about sustainability, then don't forget to share this with someone who might not be inspired, but just everyone that you know, because right now I think we collectively need to come together.
Yeah.
And I think that brings me with a closing point of, I would say I am. Okay, the question rather is, are you hopeful?
Absolutely, I'm hopeful. We are changing. We're changing for good. Now, countries have realized national policies are getting redefined, and it impacts healthcare, humanity a lot. And we need to make sure the climate risk management becomes integral part of your daily walk of life.
Absolutely. And I think on that, we're going to have a closing note. And I think the only thing I would say is that it's not too late, but we also cannot procrastinate. We cannot ignore that now means this minute. Don't wait for tomorrow. Try and understand everything that you do and the actions that have repercussions. Be more mindful, be more aware, be more educated. Keep watching us. If you do have questions, please shoot them in the comments below. Share this with somebody. Try and do your bit and create as much awareness as possible.
thegreentv.com.
Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy watching this, or if this triggered or irked your curiosity, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we will see you in the next one.